Oh yeah! This is amazing! This is the World Hang Gliding Championships! So now we're in Azure in Catalonia in Spain, and as you can see, everybody's getting ready. This is race number 1 of the World Hang Gliding Championships. Geronimo! This is a stressful part of the flight. Lots of gliders close together, trying to get high. We're currently at 7,000 feet climbing. And we have 52 minutes to wait for the start. So everybody's in the takeoff window so people can take off. Although you have to take off when it's your turn, which is based on your ranking. And then wait for the start gate. We cannot leave the start cylinder until the start gate opens, which is in 51 minutes now. So if you don't know how a hang gliding competition works, then basically it's a race. So the organisers, the meet director, will set a course for us to fly around, and we've got to fly around that course all the way to the goal without as fast as we can and without landing. If you land before you get to the end, then you are scored according to how far you got. It gets a little bit more complicated than that because we've got things like launch windows and start gates and all that sort of thing, but I'll explain some more of that as we go along. The difficulty is managing to stay up all the way around the course, and as you can see, there's a lot of us in it. There's about 140 pilots here, and we have to take off in the right order, and I'll explain that as we go along, but come and have a watch. 16 minutes to go. It's a real fun fight now. Come on, Darren. Those damned Americans flying a glider just like mine came right at me. How dare he? In fact, that's the guy that I bought this glider off. Looks exactly the same as this. We got a bit close together then. Conflicting circles. Here we have the first task, which is just under 82 kilometres, and let's talk about the flying area before we talk about the actual task. So the takeoff is just here. This is the takeoff ridge. Doesn't look much on here, but it's really high. And then behind it to the north we have an area here, these hills here, we call the Gurp. Now the Gurp is a really big mountain chain, and it separates the two valleys. We've got the Arun Valley to the west, and we've got the Trent Valley to the east, and we often do a lot of flying in the Trent Valley. To the north here we've got a dam called Sapira, and now it's really picturesque in this area because we've got a massive cliff along here and we've got a really beautiful dam here. When we fly into the Trent Valley, we've got the lake here, and we usually have just here, this is usually where the goal is, round about here, and we've got a big wide open flat valley here, Trent Valley, and here, Abella de la Conca, you can see this sort of a horseshoe shaped mountain here, and this ridge here is ginormous. Sometimes we fly along here and sometimes all the way to Orgagna over here, and there's actually nowhere decent to land in here, so you don't want to get low here. It's quite intimidating, but it can work really, really well. And then along here in a sort of north-south direction is another set of cliffs. It starts off with a tree covered area here, and then we've got the cliffs along here. It's exciting! Woohoo!
800 feet. 10 minutes until the start.
The task itself looks something like this. We've got this big orange circle here. Now that is called the start cylinder. So we're not allowed to leave this circle before a certain time, which is when the race starts. So we take off and we're flying around this area, and then when the race starts, we cross the line. So the line's not very far behind the back of the ridge, and then we're into the race. Now there's two ways of going along the race to the next turn point, which is centred around the dam at Sapira. One would be to go up the highest point of the GURP, which really works, or often works really well. Or you can try a more direct line, which might work less well, but it's more direct, so therefore you're possibly going to be quicker. So it's a bit of a toss-up as to which you do. And then from Sapira, we've got to cross the valley here, cross the GURP, cross the lake, all the way over here to this ginormous turn point here. Now the reason that's set so big is it gives a lot of options in terms of the way you can go. So you could go along this ridge here, along the Bella de la Conca, and take it here, and then you could actually go back again to get to the final turn point here, just using these ridges here to help you. Or if you're taking what they call the optimized or the shortest route, then you'd come out from the hills a little bit and you'd take the turn point here and then actually go all the way down the valley here. Now, what you do on the day is going to depend on your own personal tactics, and it's going to depend on what the clouds look like, because clouds are good markers of thermals, and also it's going to depend on what is everybody else doing. So this is the total task, which is just over 82 kilometres and finishes at the lake here.
Time to start the race. (7,700 feet). I'm with a boatload of gliders. Everybody's going for it. Here we go.
So here you can see, as soon as the race starts, everybody is immediately going for it. All the gliders on the map are now immediately facing the same direction, and everyone's going as fast as they can, following towards that first turn point. We've crossed the line now, we've started the race, and you can see that the majority of the gliders are actually not taking the most direct line, but are slightly to the right of that direct line, because that's where the highest ground is, that's where we're likely to get the most lift, and that's the line that most people are choosing. So it's always good to go in a group. And you can see that I'm in that I'm in that lead group there. I'm doing really quite well. I'm really pleased with myself at this point, and we're heading towards our first big thermal, which is about 15 kilometres before the turn point.
I'm 14/15k from the turn point, going up at 7 up. Right on the top of the GURP. So this is exciting. Going up at 6/700 feet a minute. Time to glide. 7,000 feet, time to glide. Circling ahead of me, I'm going to go for the next one. Looking good. Speed and aggression. Looks like they're going up fast in front of me. Getting this one. Whoa! Oh yeah! Now this is really exciting. Going up 1,000 feet a minute now. Time to glide. Woo-hoo-hoo! Exciting! There's Attila, former world champion, I think. There's Grant crossing up, British champion. So I'm doing alright. So that's me around the first turn point. Now in a 7-up thermal, that's 700 feet a minute going up. There's lots of gliders underneath me, which is exactly where I want them. This is going so good now. I'm enjoying this so much.
And now you can see I'm around the turn point at Superior, and I am immediately into an absolutely stonking climb. This is fantastic and I'm going up so well. At this point I'm actually one of the lead gliders. I'm climbing faster than most other people and I'm higher than most other people, and I'm right on top of the world. But this is where I made my first big mistake. You see, as I was climbing, there were gliders just behind me on the course, and I did notice that they were climbing a little bit faster than me. But I thought, well, I'm going up fast enough and I didn't want to go back. But actually, by climbing faster, they caught me up and overtook me. Critically, I got overtaken by Gordon, one of my teammates that I was ahead of, and I lost quite a few places at this point. But I was still doing well, and from that climb I had enough height with the other gliders to glide all the way over the GURP. Sometimes we have to stop on the GURP for a climb. Went all the way over the GURP and were high enough to glide almost to the lake, where we found the next really good climb.
Oh yeah! Oh yeah! This is amazing! This is the World Hang Gliding Championship! Going up at nearly 800 feet a minute. One more turn and then I'm leaving this. 8,700 feet. Time to glide on the course. This is amazing!
So now we've left the thermal that was to the west of the lake, and we're heading towards that really big turn point near Bella de la Conca, which is to the east. Now at this point I have dropped behind a little bit because of the mistake that I made earlier, but I'm still fairly with the lead gaggle. And you can see that we go out into the front, into the flats a little bit, and we find a nice thermal. And then just after this is where I make my next big mistake. And you can see that I diverted from where the lead gaggle was going, and I stayed closer to Bella de la Conca. Now this did actually mean that I was one of the first ones to get to the turn point. I think I was about in 6th place at that point. But a lot of the people that had just waited a little bit longer and stayed in that thermal came in it higher than me, and so they ended up in a better position than I did. Of course, at the time, I was fairly on my own, and I did not know where any of these people were or where I was.
So I've taken a different route to a lot of people. A little bit risky. We'll see. Risky as in it might be slower, or it could well be faster.
So now I'm on the way to the final turn point before the goal, and you see at first I'm sticking close to the hills because I can see some people circling and I think I'll use that lift, and then I go out a little bit away from the hills just because I think that it's working a little bit better out that way underneath some clouds. And then I eventually come to a thermal halfway towards the next turn point, and that's where all the blinking people that got higher than me, they're coming over the top of me and they get in front of me. Although at the time I didn't see them and I didn't realise that, but I did know that I was getting overtaken.
Just found a thermal and I'm getting hit by loads of grass and maybe insects. Wow. Following a vulture. Looks like it knows what it's doing. That's what I wanted. 6 up thermal. Perfecto. Let's take this high now. I'm still getting hit in the face by stuff. So I'm 7 kilometres from the final turn point, and I need a 9.8 wide angle to get to goal. So let's see if I can do it.
And now we're on to the final leg. Just got to tag that last turn point and then get into goal. I made 2 mistakes on this part. The first one was I was too conservative and too slow at first. And the second one, looking at the map now, it looks like I didn't quite take the best line and I could have gone a little bit more to my left and it would have been slightly shorter. But I did go faster once I got going over the lake and then I zoomed in to goal.
This is my final flight to go! I'll keep you on. Just hold line. And maybe I'll do a bit of speeding up. I got to go! Looks like a good direction. Quite windy. Whoa! Oh, sugar lumps. I need to get over the land. Blustery from the trees back there. Darren! Hello! Guten Abend! Marco! Pilots are falling out of the sky all around me. All these hang gliders falling out of the sky. There's Olaf. So fast.
Because there's a second competition, the Darren competition.
Oh my
I'm
God.
going good, I'm doing fine.
Oh my God, you are doing so well.
I'm leading the gaggle.
As usual. If you don't know, this guy is called Alex Ploner. He is the current world champion.
Campione di Monde.
Del mondo.
Campione del Mondo. So here we are. This is one of the landing fields. The one I've landed on the beach is less crowded than this, but this is superb. Loads of people got here. Lovely flight. We'll see how I did. I was not slow, but I was not one of the fastest, but I really enjoyed that flight. And yeah, that's the day one of the 10-day World Championship competition. So we'll see how we get on tomorrow.